Well, here we are. The final day. Day 30 of 30 days of comics. So, what should I read for the final day? Well, I have never read Archie. And this is a comic that has been around for decades. It's been around longer than I have. This is a comic book that I think probably a lot of kids ended up experiencing because it was a comic book that was often sold like in the supermarket queue, the checkout lines. You'd next to all the bubblegum and Cosmopolitan magazines, you'd see Archie comics there. And you'd probably have a bunch of parents saying, hey, my kids like comics, that's a comic, I'll pick it up. And kids would be like, what the hell's this? And then read it. Oh, it's good. I've heard a lot of great things about Archie. It must be good. I mean, it's lasted this long. But I honestly I've never read a single thing from it. I'm aware of Archie and Betty and Veronica and Jughead, who wears like a Burger King kids meal crown on his head for some reason. It looks stupid to me. It doesn't look entertaining at all, but I try not to be a judge a book by the cover type of guy and say, oh, I'm perfectly willing to give it a try. One of the major reasons I never have read Archie is, where the hell do you start? I mean, there's several different Archie series and several different spin-offs. I mean, Archie has met... There's like Archie meets the Predator, Archie meets the Punisher, there's all kinds of... there's Archie all over the place. It's like trying to watch Doctor Who. It's like, where do you start? There's like 13, 14 seasons, or series, if you rather, of that damn show. I'm the kind of guy who wants to start at the very beginning. And when you have something that's been going on for decades, that's just, oh my god, I don't have the time to watch 1,000 episodes of this show or whatever. So that's probably one of the main reasons I've never bothered to delve into Archie. So, where do we start with this episode of 30 Days of Comics? Which book am I going to read? Well, I figured that the Comixology Unlimited service would be very limited in this regard, and I'd only have like one choice, if any, to read from the series. But there are a ton of Archie series available on Comixology, and a bunch of them are actually available in the Unlimited program. So the question remains, which book do I read? Where do I start? So, considering that today is Halloween Eve, Afterlife with Archie. Right? Archie doesn't appeal to me at all, but put some zombies in it and I'm sure it's gonna be fine, right? Let's find out. Alas, poor Hot Dog. We hardly knew him. Hot Dog is Jughead's dog. Jughead is the character who wears a Burger King kids meal crown on his head for a reason, I'm sure. Anyway, his beloved Hot Dog was struck dead by a passing car. Poor Hot Dog. Poor Jughead. Broken up. Sad. So he did the only thing any of us would do. He went over to Sabrina the Teenage Witch's house because, yeah, she exists in this universe. I don't know if Sabrina the Teenage Witch got her start in Archie comics, or if she's just an IP that's owned by the same company that publishes Archie, or what, but yeah, it's Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Hello, passing garbage truck. Don't know if you can hear that, but I can, and it's really distracting. Anyway, so he takes his doggy corpse over to Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and her aunts try to resurrect him, but unfortunately it's Princess Bride rules, and you can't resurrect the all dead. Mostly dead, sure, but not all dead, and this dog's all dead. Can't even go through its pockets for loose change. Poor Jughead is broken up about that, but they say sometimes dead is better. But Sabrina feels really bad for Jughead, so she steals the Necronomicon and says, Jughead, bring your doggy corpse out to the middle of the woods and we'll bury him. And they do. And they recite the mystic incantation from the Necronomicon, which is only 3 words. It's not Clactu Verada Nicto, actually. It's just 3 words. It says, all right, go home. Well, the dog resurrects and is immediately Undead Cujo and bites Jughead on the arm. Jughead turns into a zombie. Wouldn't you know it, it's Halloween. We're doing the whole Riverside, Riverdale, whatever the name of this town is, high school Halloween party where everyone's in costume. So when Jughead shows up, everyone's like, oh my gosh, that's the most amazing makeup ever. And when he starts munching on Ethel, whoever that is, they're like, oh, you silly, goofy guy. And when Ethel, they realize that, oh my gosh, he just ate half of her. She gets up off the floor and suddenly she's all, aw, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like, he was putting excellent zombie makeup on her face with his mouth. People. You know, one of the most creative people and authors, if you're making a horror story and it's set in the modern day, it's weird if your characters have never heard of zombies or vampires. That's just weird. It's weird when you do a zombie movie set in a modern day where apparently zombie movies have never existed. That's just weird. Stop doing that. It's weird. So, zombie shenanigans ensue. Archie, Betty, Veronica, and the gang take refuge in Veronica's dad's place because it's a big mansion. And the zombies seem to be led by Jughead, although the 5 issues I read don't really get into that much. But they surround the house, and yeah, typical zombie. That's one of my biggest problems, is it's very typical of zombie stories. There's not really much new there. I admire that they go full zombie, like people die and there's blood and the tone is correct. I've never read Archie, so I don't know what the tone normally is. But it's not like Scooby-Doo zombies, you know? Where it's just a fun, silly romp with zombies. No, this is Archie versus the undead. I mean, it's really serious, and I admire that. The art is nice. It's very predominantly orange and black, so it feels very Halloween. I like Archie's dog, Vegas, I think the dog's name is, because the dog actually has word balloons or subtitles giving the dog's thoughts, which are very singular. Archie's being menaced by the undead hot dog, and Vegas comes out, and he looks at Archie, goes, Archie Master, and then looks at undead Cujo and goes, danger, protect, and immediately, run, Master Archie, run, my life for yours, and it's just these short, simple little bursts of instinct. It's a really nice touch. And when Vegas ends up as Zombie Dog and comes back, his word balloons read, bite, kill, maim, eat. You know, that was a nice touch. I liked that. Probably, I think this series would really work for me if I knew who any of the characters were. I mean, this is a series that's been around for decades. So if you've been reading this for a long time and these are characters that you've grown up with and come to love, I think the story would have a lot more meaning for you. For me, I don't know who any of these people are, so I don't care as much. And one thing that really bothered me was Betty and Veronica. They are really nasty, shallow, hateful people, and I don't like them. They seem to have, they're both fighting, they snipe and bicker at each other, they fight over Archie. Archie himself doesn't really even seem to care that much. I mean, he doesn't seem to be completely above boning either of them, or this seems to be kind of PG, so making out with them. But when they start bickering, he's like, all right, you kids fight it out, I'm going to go hang out with my friends. Even Archie doesn't really seem to like them that much. And I don't either, because they're just kind of horrible. Again, if I, at least just from what I've read of this, if I'd immersed myself in the Archie mythos for decades, I'd probably come to know the characters and like them better. But at least for just the opening 5 issues, there's nothing to these two, and I don't like them. Still, props to doing an Elseworld what-if story, Archie, with zombies, and taking it really seriously. I think that's very cool, that it wasn't a goof, it wasn't a gag, it wasn't a joke. It's serious. It may not be in mainline continuity with Archie, but they take it really seriously, and I think that's very cool. So, yeah, Archie, Undead with Afterlife with Archie, that's what it's called. So, not enough to get me interested in the Archie series, not even enough really to keep me reading, but if you're a fan of Archie and you like horror and zombies, you know what, give it a try. You'll probably get a lot more out of it than I would, because these are characters that you know and love and care about. So, there you go. And so ends 30 Days of Comics. I had a lot of fun with this. There were some duds, but I read a lot of really interesting books, and I'd say 4 or 5 that I'm definitely going to pick up the full series for. So, I don't know about you, but it was good for me. So, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for your support. I hope you enjoyed the series, and hey, have a happy Halloween. Take care.